All right, guys. So, I said I was going to go through this bad boy, and boy, are we going through it. Hold on, people are texting me. Keep it quiet, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going? I'm SoCal Honey Badger, and I'm going to be doing a big, long reaction discussion, what have you, with this video here. So, here is here's the scene setter, okay? In this video, we have Mike Hollow, who is a gentleman I just recently started getting familiar with. I've only been really watching his content for about a couple of months. And you know, I kind of like his whole journalism thing. He's kind of taking his channel in a journalism, like interviewing people and more of like an FGC news kind of thing. And I really think that we should support that, right? So go ahead and check out Mike Hollow. I've been tweeting and interacting with this stuff pretty regularly here on Twitter. And I've never met the guy, but I've talked to him in his stream chats and whatnot. But outside of that, I don't know the guy. I like what he's doing as kind of a journalist in fighting games. We just have Button Check, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I love Button Check, but he is one dude, you know? And then the next person in this video is someone that I'm a big fan of and have been for a long time, Mr. Tom Brady. I know that Tom Brady has he's got a reputation, right? He's got a bad reputation, but it can't be any worse than mine. I've been a big fan of Tom Brady for a long time. I've also been very critical of Tom Brady quite often, but that comes from a place of just respect, okay? Respect. I was one of the first people that bought the Living Guide. I can't remember if it was like $1, maybe it was $10. But yeah, Tom Brady, when he made that Living Guide, I was one of the first people to download and purchase it. And I was one of the people that went and told all my buddies, hey man, there's this guy in New York. He's made an app for MK9 before the game came out. I was like, you guys got to check out. So I had like almost all of Southern California downloading your app, Tom. You're welcome. And I've always said that because he made that Living Guide, I will be forever thankful and grateful to Tom, and I will ride or die and help him in his career. And in fact, the only reason why I started doing guides myself was because Tom didn't, right? Tom, he just kind of lost his passion, didn't want to do them anymore, and so I started doing guides, and I kind of tried to follow Tom's format and how he broke things down and explained them. So he's been a big influence in my content creation and just as a fighting game player. Even though he's not perfect, there's definitely a lot of shit to be talked about, Tom. But there's also reasons to stand up and listen when he speaks. So we have Exhibit A, we have a guy trying to make it as a journalist in fighting games, and we want to promote and encourage that. And then B, we have a legend with a very strong mind for the games and all of that. And number 3 is this gentleman here, Blood Count 8895, is an actual honest-to-God NetherRealm developer, or at least he was. I don't know this person, but he knows Tom and he knows Hater Supreme right here, Mike Hollow. Tom Brady, I guess he is Superman now. But and it's funny because a lot of people are always, when they see Tom Brady, they're like, I didn't know he looked like that. And I was like, he's never really kept his face a secret. I've never interacted with him in person. I've seen him in person. We've been at a lot of tournaments where he was there. There's a lot of tournaments where he was there and I was there, but I didn't really, we're in different social circles, so I never really approached him or talked to him. I don't even think he's ever known I was there, just because, like I said, we're in different social circles. But I always found that weird, but people get surprised at how he looks, because I'm like, dude, he's not like Rey Mysterio or some shit where you gotta watch old WCW to see his face. It's like, nah, he's he streams a lot, guys. And then, like I said, Blood Count, this is the interesting thing, okay? This is why I wanted to make this video, because Mike Hollow and Tom Brady have done a lot of interviews and a lot of discussions. You see there's a lot of other people in here. I don't really recognize a lot of them. They probably don't recognize me anyways. because I try to stay low key. I try to stay on the underground. I always tell people I'm your favorite streamer's favorite streamer, even though you don't know about me. The people you know about, they know about me. Okay, so I don't know these guys, but maybe I should. If there is somebody that I should know, let me know. But I promised to go through this whole interview. Because again, it's a member of the community trying to be a news source, plus a member of the community who's been around for a long time as a passionate player, creator, competitor, whatever, getting a chance to talk with someone who makes Mortal Kombat. Yeah, I wish I could have seen this stream, but I have a lot going on in my life. I wish I could have been a part of this conversation. I'm very, very sad that I missed that. I will try to make sure I don't miss too many of Mike Hollow's streams. You guys do the same. Because, yeah, to pick the brains of somebody that worked at NetherRealm, from my perspective, oh, man. And I heard that this interview and this discussion is very fascinating. They go over a lot of the bad side and a lot of the, we're going to get into it. I am King Trash Talk. I exist specifically to patronize and annoy, the majority of people. The only people that are not annoyed by me are the people that agree with me, and I exist to be a buffer on the world to ensure that we never go too crazy. I'll do the crazy. You criticize me for it. So I'm going to talk a lot of shit. I have been very critical about NetherRealm. I have been absolutely savage towards them while also being open to their redemption. I'm cheering NetherRealm on that they can get their shit together and we can get some good games again. But I want to know how Mortal Kombat has gotten to this state. Okay, how did we get here? MK1 is a joke and a dumpster fire, and MK11 was abandoned just when it was starting to get interesting. So, like, there had to be so many failures on so many levels for a franchise as ironclad and golden as Mortal Kombat to the point where they make bad movies that are profitable. Okay, like none of the Mortal Kombat movies are like Oscar bait cinema, right? They're really like, and we still spend millions of dollars to just go watch a real life Scorpion do a karate. That this was a golden franchise, and now everyone hates it. And as someone who is still clinging to the copium, right? Clinging to the copium of, oh man, I hope we can turn this ship around. I keep saying, I'm like, if MK1 gets that No Man's Sky patch, we're fucking back in business, right? We are in business, but, every day it looks like that patch ain't coming. But I'm clinging to the hopium. I'm clinging to the copium, and I want to hear NetherRealm's side of the story. So I'm going to be going through this thing. This is an 8-hour podcast. I sifted through the first 5 hours. I did listen to this whole thing, and there's a lot of good discussion in here, but I wanted to get to the meat of the bones. This is the part where the developer steps in. I listened to about 10 minutes of this, and I was like, I need to pull up my recording, and we're going to record this. I'm going to try and chop this up into little bits, so that way it's not like what do we got left here now? 2 hours, 3 hours left. This isn't going to be a 3-hour video. I'm going to chop this up into several smaller videos and a playlist, and try to get through this thing. And I want to hear NetherRealm's side, and I'm going to unleash the vitriol. So here we go. This is when Blood Count joins the conversation, and let me get my coffee.
And maybe Blood Count's in here. Blood Count was a designer on the game. Maybe he can speak to this a little bit, because it feels to me like the developers since MK11 and with MK1 that they try to scale things back. I mean, earlier he said that the sentiment in the office was that MKX was just too crazy. So I don't know if you can add to that, Blood Count.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so like when things were being decided in the back about like what the mechanics would be for MK1, I personally wasn't expecting it to be an assist fighter with something called Cameos. Once it started being fleshed out, with a working prototype and, kind of getting the rundown of how it's supposed to work, I still designed my characters to be complete characters as if they didn't need cameos. And then
Are you able to say what characters they were that you worked on?
well, Reiko
okay.
Yeah, I've heard. I was here whenever they were having that conversation.
It was Natara, Reiko, Baraka, General Shao.
By the way.
And Blood Count also answer this.
Okay, so already my interest is peaked. I know a lot of you guys play Reiko. We heard Baraka, General Shao, but bro, like, literally, I'm a Natara. Oh man, I gotta hear this one. So this guy made my actual main. This is like, dude, this is like Christmas, dog. I get to hear from the guy that designed the character that I'm actually maining and have been playing since day one. And I got a lot of opinions and thoughts about Natara, but I want to see where he started. Okay, where did we start? And how did we get there? And right now, first of all, I'm going to say that the reason why I'm a Natara main is because when I loaded up the game, and you guys that have followed my content, you saw, I loaded up the game when it first dropped. I bought it at GameStop because I buy all my games on discs. And I installed it, and so while everyone was streaming it and playing it, I was at the store and then installing it, and then when it installed, I gave myself 2 hours to kind of fiddle with the game, and in those 2 hours, I jumped on Natara within those hours, and within like 5 minutes of playing Natara, I was like, yo, this character's dope. This character's either going to be the most busted OP thing in the game, or it's going to be like supremely bad, like low tier trash. But she's so fun to play that I'm going to main this. This is going to be, I'm not playing other characters. I'm going hard on Natara just because she's so fun. As soon as I saw the triangle dash-ish mechanic where I could diagonal dash down, I was like, oh snap, they added Magneto from Marvel vs. Capcom to Mortal Kombat. I was like, yeah, I want to do ROM combos. If there's ROM infinites, we got a Mortal Kombat with assists, and you gave me Magneto. Yeah, we're getting on that. So that's why I picked Natara. I don't know if that's why he designed her, but let's go.
Man's dreams. Who designed Tremor and MKX? I wasn't there.
John Edwards.
I knew it. John Edwards. Man.
All right, there you go.
Yeah,
John Edwards.
Yeah, and so then. I'm still trying to remember because again I haven't been there for 2 years.
Oh man!
But I, went through all the crunch cycles and everything. And I just remember that being told like, oh yeah, the cameos are supposed to like provide the assist opportunity to extend your combo or to protect you from a projectile if that character doesn't have a projectile parry or just a standard teleport to get the hell out of the way. So there was also kind of discussions that. Of like, oh, when you're designing this new character, make sure you have the opportunity for the player to like use the cameo to actually do that for the character. Yeah. And I was always like, well, I'm going to design the character like Reiko, how I want him to be designed and how he's going to play with his pressure and command grabs and combos and all that stuff, and then the cameo can just come in and like assist on keeping that extension going, or maybe he puts an armor buff on him, so just in case if this guy breaks away, I can armor through a projectile and continue my pressure, or do that low takedown grab, the Krav Maga double leg takedown, So, but again, I was caught off by surprise that there was actually this cameo system, because I actually did the character assist modifiers in Injustice 2, but those were just like projectiles that came off the screen. And then the idea for MK11 was like, oh, well, what happens if like you could actually call in Sub-Zero and he could do a quick move and then exit out, and I forget what that mode was called or whatever, but that's where this system kind of I guess got more life, was because of that. So yeah, again, I was one of the designers that was like, I'm going to design the characters as a complete character, because we also had discussions too where it was just like, Oh yeah, MK11 kind of felt like they weren't complete, where you had to like actually pick and choose your gear pieces to activate that special or to switch out this special. And we did see some of those comments of like, we just want a more complete fighter. And so that's what I thought we were going to do in MK1. Wow. And then when we started hearing about the cameos, it's like, well, then that kind of doesn't make it a complete fighter because there's 16 cameos. So your character could technically have 16 different variations. Well, that's okay, not really
This is interesting, okay? So they didn't start with cameos. They added cameos after the fact, and the designers were trying to design characters that were complete because that's what the fans wanted. And then all of a sudden, this mandate comes down. Now you got to add this shit. And they're like, that's the opposite of what we've been working on, and also the opposite of what our audience has said. That is interesting. That is very interesting. And it's also interesting because, again, when you look at the characters he's worked on or the characters he designed, those characters are the ones that are OP with a cameo, right? So you look at like Baraka. Baraka on his own, he feels like a complete character. But like when you added Cyrax, it was like, what is this? Right? Natara, she feels like a complete character. Like you could play Natara and not like ever really use your assist. But you put Natara with Farah and it's just like, oh, okay, this is busted. Like, this is stupid. And yeah, I noticed that, yeah. So that explains the balancing. That it was just like miscommunication and incompetence. That's why, so there it is, right? From a guy who designed the characters. Miscommunication and incompetence. Or a lack of communication, right? Because he's going by what the fans were communicating. They wanted this. Okay, I'm not saying that's what I wanted. I'm just saying he is saying, Blood Count, a developer from NetherRealm, is saying the fans have told us we just want one character with all the moves. And so he started doing that under the fan mandate, and then it came down from above, now we're going to do this. And then so he went and did that, and like, bro, like, that is such horrible mismanagement. Like, the fact that they were already working on that, and then you just come down with this, like, entire mandate to change up everything after you had already sent them to work on something that you had already gotten feedback from the fan base that they don't want anything like this. Right, you literally got feedback from the fans. We don't want variations or moves that are separate. We just want to have one character with all the moves. And then you literally said, no, you can have two characters with half the moves. And it's just like do you fucking hate your customers? Like, do you hate them? Because as a customer right now, I'm starting to feel like there's some kind of antagonism, and people want to criticize me for being antagonistic back and talking smack on Twitter like I'm the bad guy. And I'm like, literally, they got the word from on high saying, fuck what the fans want. We have decided to do this for whatever reason. Let me see. I want to hear that reason why the cameo system was better than what the fans were asking for.
Complete character, then we're kind of going back to variations again, but in the form of a cameo. Now again, at the end of the day, Paulo can go in there and change a bunch of stuff, or how a move actually works, so then that way the cameo is actually viable for that character. Once he goes into his balance mode, where back then it would shut the door and sleep at the office, like that's where his magic takes over.
And you would come in the morning and you would be like, what happened? And they're like, Paulo did something. And
yeah, I actually have a funny story, because when I did,
interesting, Paulo is the one that's making like the final balance changes. Like Paulo. So, like, these guys are designing this shit, right? They're designing Liu Kang and Scorpion, and then they're saying, this is the Scorpion. Now, do your magic. So then Paulo takes Scorpion and Liu Kang, and he spends a night with them playing and play testing, and then he balances it to what he believes is balanced. And all I can think about is Paulo, the guy on the combat casts who openly brags about being awful at the game, is the final pass through on the balance decisions. Like, yeah, they're saying he goes in there and there must be some kind of magic or sorcery in there. Like, Paulo must be like sacrificing babies to Baal or some shit. Like, how is a guy who brags about being incompetent, and then we watch him play the games in their little belt matches, and we see that he's not very good, and he's the final arbiter of what is and isn't balanced in the game? I'm just trying to logic this, okay? I'm trying to logic this. Okay, so we're taking a guy who is bad at the game and does not know how they function on like a high level. He clearly knows the deep technical level because he's making it, right? But he doesn't play him at a high level. He doesn't understand the thought process that a player at a high level would go through. He doesn't understand what makes a player into a high level player, because nobody is born a pro fighting game level player. Like, it takes a long, long time. There are ways to cheat that and sidestep that. Like having a sibling. You notice that a lot of Evo champions have a sibling that they practice with. But at the end of the day, yeah, just because I can do those hours at any time with a real human who is equal skill with me, it's still 24 hours in a day, and I can only spend them so much. So it still takes X amount of time to get good. And we have a guy who brags about this. Like, is this some kind of like common man joke? Like, ha ha ha, we're sticking it to those people that are good. Like, it just seems like that's the intention, like spiteful. Like, fuck those pro players that are good and fuck the people that practice their ass off to get good. What we're going to do is take someone who isn't good and brags about it and goes out of their way to not be good, and that's going to be the one who balances the game that they have to play, because fuck those people. It's like, it just seems like hatred. And I don't know where this is. It comes like, it just seems like NetherRealm hates their players. And when I say their players, I mean the people that play their games beyond the first 2 weeks. Like, it just seems like NetherRealm wants those people that buy Mortal Kombat and they play for 2 weeks and they beat story mode and then they go back to Call of Duty and never talk about fighting games again. Except for when you're like, oh yeah, I play fighting games. Oh yeah, I do Mortal Kombat. Yeah, man, Scorpion, right? Like, they want that fan base to be their only fan base. Like, they're trying to reach out to those guys, be like, yeah, man, fuck those like nerds that play too much. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm a nerd that plays too much because I love you so much. Like, how do you hate me for loving, like, I love Ed Boon and Stephanie Brownback, all these idiots that I criticize as idiots. I still love them. I love Mortal Kombat. I love the product of their work and enjoy it. And yeah, I talk trash, but I talk trash to everybody. Like, but at the end of the day, I'm still buying the games. I'm still streaming the games. I'm still telling people to play them. I'm still telling people that don't have them to go get a copy and join the community, right? I'm still showing them love, maybe in a backwards, disrespectful, and insulting way, but like, I'm not doing things to hurt them. Like, I'm not going, like, I'm going to say, yeah, man, Stephanie Brownback sucks, you know, but I'm not going out of my way to be like, oh yeah, like, NetherRealm should, like, Mortal Kombat, you shouldn't buy Mortal Kombat, and like, NetherRealm, like, you know, they need to all die and be sent into a lake of fire. And I'm like, No, I'm like, Mortal Kombat should be safe. We should still play the games if you love them, and they can't take away your experiences and your friends and all the good things you got from Mortal Kombat. If they matter, we can still play. We don't need any of that other stuff, right? And at the end of the day, we're still trying to show them love. I'm still telling people, go buy the game, man. Go play MK and get your friends. Like, yeah, the game's not perfect, but they're working on it, and they've done enough stuff to entertain and interest me long enough to want to stick it out, right? I enjoy playing the games. I've said MK1 is fun. I've said MK11 is fun. I enjoy them. Like, what you did was cool, and I like it. And when you screw up and do things I don't like, I'm going to criticize it. But I'm not doing things to actively hurt you. I may say, oh, yeah, people at NetherRealm need to get laid off. Yeah, the people that suck. Every job has people that suck. You tell me at your job there aren't people that suck? Like, come on, man. Quit being so freaking arrogant to think that you work at the one place that has people that don't suck. I'm saying, yo, the people that suck, get them out of there, but don't fire everybody. There's people that care, and if they care and they're good, I've called for specific heads. I've said Stephanie Brownback is supposed to be a head of quality assurance, and the games have not been assuredly quality. Like, they just break and fall apart, and what the hell, dude? How come it's lagging when I'm offline? Like, that's not quality. Like, command lists were wrong, dude. Like, how is that quality assurance? I'm not criticizing Stephanie Brownback for any political or any other. No, I see people talking about that, and we're not about that, okay? We're not about that. I'm criticizing the work. I've said Stephanie Brownback's work is garbage, and if they don't sort it out and fix it, they should be fired. But Stephanie Brownback already works there, is already doing the job. So it's like, if you're not going to fire Stephanie, then let Stephanie cook and work. And maybe Stephanie can redeem Mortal Kombat. Maybe it's not Stephanie's fault. I've said this many times. I said, yo, maybe it's not even Stephanie's fault. Yes, that's the head of quality assurance. So they have put their face out there to say, me. I am in charge. Okay, you want that prestige of sitting there saying I was a tournament player. Now I am in charge of quality assurance. Okay, cool. So assure me some fucking quality. And when you don't, you got to get fired or you get written up and you come back and you fix it. Now, I'm assuming maybe they didn't get written up or maybe they did, but maybe the quality assurance isn't their fault. And I've always said, if Stephanie Brownback comes out and says, the bad move list, that wasn't my fault, that was this, and explain, I'm like, all right, then it's not Stephanie Brownback's fault. All we're doing is criticizing the work because we want the work to be better. And if Stephanie Brownback is deciding that Stephanie wants to be the person to do this job and they want the prestige and the love and the glory of the community, then they have to perform those functions, and we should hold them to that accountability. All of NetherRealm, right? NetherRealm is like a prestige job. Nobody works at NetherRealm because they fucking get paid millions of dollars. Hell, that fuck no, they don't. They get paid maybe barely over minimum wage. I think like maybe their average coder is making like $20 an hour. And it's like, ooh, $20. No, dude, minimum wage is like 15 everywhere. You know, like they don't make a whole lot of money. And even when minimum wage was like not 15, like $20 an hour is like, that's like having your own apartment levels of money. Like that's not even like I could get a house with $20 an hour. That's like I could have an apartment that someone else owns, but I'm the only one that lives here unless I got a significant other that I'm having relations with. But yeah, so they're not in this for the money. They're in this because they like video games or assumed that they like Mortal Kombat or they like something about Mortal Kombat because they're not in it for the money. So my thing is, okay, if we're going to have these people in these prestige jobs, oh yes, I work on Mortal Kombat. Okay, then work on it. And if the work is not up to the standard, we, you and me, right, the fans that paid the money for this to happen, because Stephanie Brownback does not have a paycheck if I don't buy the games. I can say whatever the fuck I want, okay? But if my wallet remains closed, it doesn't matter how hard Stephanie works. Okay, so for me to sit there and say, I will withhold my wallet until I see this level of quality, you know, and then they deliver that level of quality. Well, then, as I have shown time and time again, and you people out there that call me a shill and a sellout, because I'll buy the skins. I don't freaking play Molina, hell nah. But you know what? I bought the what is it, the Deadly Deception skin? Hell yeah, I bought that. It looks sexy, and yeah, you know what? I want NetherRealm to get some money for making that. You know, it added to the game. People will pick that costume and I get to look at it and hooray for me. And you know what? I liked what they did with like the last balance patch. You know, I have consistently been there to support them when they do good and call them out when they do bad. But it's always from a place of love. And yeah, that just kind of, like, I haven't even gotten into the meat and potatoes of this, and I already feel like I've said a lot, so I may clip this here and post this part. But as a fan of Mortal Kombat, to see my concerns be made manifest, right? Because I've always kind of said, man, dude, it just feels like these people fucking hate us, and I don't know why. We try to show them love. They troll us. We troll them back. But at the end of the day, we're still feeding them, right? Like, at the end of the day, like, we're still buying the game. Well, apparently not. Right? And that's, like, the other thing is, like, okay, so Chaos Reigns sold Garbo. Those of us that are still buying the DLC, right? I'm still buying I bought the Christmas Frost and Serena skin, right? Like, that's after Chaos Reigns. So I bought the Chaos Reigns, and then after the Chaos Reigns, I bought the next DLC. So I'm still here buying the DLC, and yet it seems like NetherRealm is going out of their way to tell me they don't want my fandom. They don't want me as a customer. That's the impression I've got from just however long we've gotten into this video, and he's really just given his introduction. It's just like, wow. Like, we fans said we wanted this. Even the casuals, right? Even the 2-week and then back to Call of Duty guys said we don't want variations. We just want regular one character with all the moves. Like, we all said that as fans. And they just said no. And then to find out that the guy in charge of the balancing for the game is a guy that brags. There's a difference between, like, what he does and, like, me downplaying how well I play the games. Because I'm comparing myself to, like, players that beat me. So it's like when I'm in there against, like, Mountain Dew the Joker, who's a very well-known MK1 player, or if I'm in there with, like, Slay. I fought Gurr before, right? And then Gurr beat me in a tournament, and I was like, man, I suck. And it's like, yeah, I suck in relation to Gurr, who just beat me, but, like, I am under no auspicions that I'm bad at Mortal Kombat. I know I'm actually, like, way better than most people at this game. I'm probably better at this game than a lot of the people, like, making more success from playing this game. Like, other YouTubers who make more money and fame than me, I'm probably better than a lot of them. But, like, I don't sit there and try to feign patheticness. Right? I don't sit there and be like, oh, I'm bad. And then, I mean, we've watched Paulo play 100 combat casts, right? We've seen a ton of his combat casts. And it's like, bro, like, you're bad. Like, in MK1, I watched him not even be able to do regular combos. Never once have I seen him actually perform a flawless block. You know, like, not one that wasn't accidental, that led to an actual conversion. Like, oh, I made the read on my opponent. I know how to blow that up. Like, fighting game basics, you know, and that's one of the harder ones. Flawless blood, you got to time it right. It's kind of tough. I've never even seen him do that in a match. And yet that's the guy who decides how they're balanced. Like, oh no, this flawless block does too much damage. This character, like when we're sitting there looking through MK11 and you're sitting there like, why does this character have such a bad wake up 3, or like, why do they have such a bad flawless block, like Shiva? And it's like, why is Shiva's flawless block like so bad? Like, it's just not even really usable in most situations. And it's like, oh, it's because the guy who designed it can't even do it. So, like, he doesn't even know how the move works in a match. Like, he doesn't know, like, why a player would want to do this move other than it's a flawless block up 3. It's a mechanic that you got to do. Oh, that's what the good players do. The flawless block. Yeah, you got to do it. But it's like, you look at it, if you're actually good and you look at the move, you're like, why the fuck would I spend my meter on that? Why would I do that? And it's because the guy who designed it doesn't have an answer either. Allegedly. Again, maybe Paulo has just been lying to us the whole time. Maybe he's actually like some secret MK wizard who's like super dope at the game and like understands because they said, oh, he goes into a dark room by himself with a build of the game and performs voodoo magic. Ooh, voodoo magic. Well, I don't know what goes on in there, but I do know that like these games are actually kind of balanced. Like, whatever he did, like, I gotta say, outside of, and again, this is coming from the guy who's banning moves in my MK11 streams, right? And it's because, but that actually, to me, is a testament to how good MK11's balance is. Like, I don't even have to ban characters. I just ban moves. Like, this character's balanced, bro. Just take out that move, right? With Fujin, take out, Skywalker. He's fine, and you can have your opinions or whatever on that. I don't care. I'm not here to argue or debate balance, but I'm just saying, like, the games are actually, because I came from the old school, dude. I played Marvel 2, man. I had to fight Magneto ROM combos. Like, that game is not balanced, like, at all. Magneto can do things in Marvel vs. Capcom 2 that no one else can do, period. Like, he has the fastest attack in the game. It's like, yeah, like, the game is not balanced. That's what I grew up with in the arcade. So when I play something like MK11, I'm like, dude, like, bro, you could pick Johnny Cage. He's not, like, you could win. Like, back in the day, it was like, yeah, you can't pick Johnny Cage. Like, he just don't exist. Go play Third Strike. Go play Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. And I'll just be like, yeah, bro. See, what you had done was you had picked Remy. Yeah, that was a bad idea. See, you see his character right there? That's Chun-Li. And see, you picked Remy. And so that's why you lost. But you could win with Remy. No, you cannot. That dude, right? That Japanese guy, he can win with Remy. You cannot. Okay, you need to pick a top tier until you get your fundamentals in order. But we're getting the game balanced around a guy who doesn't pick a top tier until he gets his fundamentals in order. Like, you got a guy who publicly seems to revile us and everything that we do. Like, the NetherRealm works so hard to be a part of the Evo community, right? They bribe their way into Evo. They bribe their way into this year, right? Let's be honest. MK1 in the Evolution 2025 tournament is because Evolution and Sony got it's one of two reasons, okay? I can confirm one of two reasons. It is either option number one, Sony or whatever received a lot of money from Warner Brothers or whoever to get the game in there, that they were paid off to get in there. Or number two, this is actually the more likely answer. This is what I believe. I know the Evo founders, okay? I don't know them like as besties, but like I've spent countless nights at Wednesday night fights chilling with like Seth Killian and the Cannon brothers and all of those guys. And I can verify and I can vouch that those guys just love Mortal Kombat. I'm going to be real, dude. The only reason why Evo is in Mortal Kombat is because the guys who run Evo, like the actual like planners and organizers, they really like Mortal Kombat. And I believe that. It's easy, and I'm Captain Hate the Corpos, right? You guys know this. I criticize all the Corpo commanders. I hate on all that shit, right? But I will go to bat for people that are legit. I understand you got to have a job. You got to pay your bills. And if your job is working at Evo, paying your bill, like you're living the dream. And if you're bringing that passion to other people, like that's a beautiful thing that should be encouraged, right? And the guys at Evo, they legit just love fighting games. And they legit do love Mortal Kombat. I know that the Evo fan base, right? The Evolution fans hate on Mortal Kombat, right? They crash trash our game and they make us feel unwelcome. But I can tell you guys, Mortal Kombat fans, that the Evolution founders they're us, dude. They're watching Ketchup and Mustard. They're learning, their strategies from Tom Brady. They're catching, the Destroyer tournaments. I know for a fact that a lot of the Evo founders, I believe, watch Aquaman and Destroyer. I've heard that from several people that that the Evo founders do be watching like MK streams, just loving it, man. So that's why MK is at Evo, in my opinion. But yeah, like MK exists because, like today, right now, MK exists because of love, right? It's at Evo, I believe, because the Evo founders that run it still love MK. MK has a fan base because the fans love MK, and I'm just trying to logic in my head that why is it no matter how much love we send to these developers, they still seem to hate us. I'm going to finish more of this, but I need a cigarette, and I got to, call my woman before she thinks I'm, neglecting her or something. So give me a moment, and we will restart this recording. But you know what? Oh, wow, we are at 40 minutes. I was trying to make this thing a 10-minute clip. Holy crap. All right, well, I guess I'm going to get to editing this part first, but like, comment, and subscribe, and for part, I want to say part 2, but it might end up being part 8 of this series. I'm going to get through this whole conversation with them, okay? I promised you guys I was going to do this.